Hey girls, welcome, welcome, welcome on in. Today we are talking about doing it scared. There's something you want to do. There's something that's at your heart, in your soul, at the bottom of your foot that you've been wanting to do, but you're scared of doing it. And the question is, well, what to do? Stick with me. I'll give you around 10 points on how to address this point. And the very, very first one, to cure to cure the concern is an unlikely one, but face the fear. It says accept the fear. Accept the fact that you are scared. These are just my notes. Accept the fact that you are scared. It sounds off perhaps, but this is really it. We spend a lot of time trying to get away from our feelings. And I'll give you my own example. This is all firsthand. A lot of everything I tell you here is stuff I've gone through myself. So spending a lot of time trying to pretend, no, I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't be scared. Forget the shoulds and shouldn'ts and all that stuff. Think of it as, actually, I have this thing to do and I am afraid of it. I am afraid of doing it. I feel fear. What that does is that it engages with yourself. There's a part of you that is trying to knock at the door of the rest of you. You think of it as the little kid at the corner trying to knock in and get the attention of everyone else. And no one else is listening because these are adults. Adults have been taught how to have an adult facade and do adult things. So when the little kid is there, you're like, no, shoo, you little child, because you want to be the adult and forget the fear. So what this child is saying is that you're afraid, you're scared. And without listening to this little voice, what happens is that you sabotage yourself because you look for other excuses. You look for other things that are the reasons why you're not doing what you want to do. You can't find the time. You can't find the motivation. You can't find this, that, or the other. But the reality of it is that there is a fear. And when you face the fact, you accept it. You don't push it. You don't rationalize it. You don't say whether or not you should be scared. You just accept the fact that you are scared. You are allowed to feel whatever it is you feel. Emotions, energy in motion. It's something that is moving through you. And it undoubtedly has a source. Perhaps the thing that you want to do is something you've tried to do before. And when you tried to do it, it did not work. People laughed at you. Or even without trying to do that thing, you've had the situation where people laughed at you for putting yourself out there. And now you fear, you do not want to go through that again. Again, it's our friend the ego who doesn't want to die. Wants to keep you exactly where you are, because if you're doing anything else than what you are doing now, then that is exposing you. What if people laugh? And the question is really, what if they do? What if they do? And the silly thing about all this is that there's absolutely no one spending their time thinking about you. Unfortunately, if that is unfortunate, everyone spends their time in their own little world. I'll tell you my example. I'll give you many examples, but this one just comes to mind right now because it's just something that I resolved maybe around last June or July, somewhere around there. So I have a balcony that you've seen me recording once in a while. So I go out to the balcony, and I used to be shy of using the space because I felt that my neighbors were looking at me. Now that I say it, really, it feels very silly. It does feel very silly. I thought that my neighbors spent all their time waiting by their windows to watch what I'm doing at my balcony. But it was a real fear, to the extent that for a large period that I lived in this place, I haven't been using the balcony. So what I told myself is I shall face my fear. I gave myself a little story whenever I wanted to go out to the balcony. And because I'd do something as simple as eating. I didn't want to go and eat outside because the neighbors would be watching me. And they'll either be judging what I'm eating, how I'm eating, why I'm eating, where I'm, In my mind, I'd created this whole facade. And my neighbors, first of all, are nice. Maybe that's why I should start. My neighbors are nice. But more importantly, they have their own lives. They're busy people. They have their own things that they're doing. They have their own stuff going on. So there's absolutely nobody spending their time at the window watching me, because Shiro is not that interesting, for crying out loud. The things I do in my balcony are absolutely not interesting. People eating food. So what I did, how I weaned myself out of the fear, is that I gave myself a story. I told myself that whenever I'm out at the balcony and I start feeling that I'm being watched, to tell myself that my neighbors have taken that specific moment to go to the loo. It sounds silly, but what it did is that it created for me pockets of time when my neighbors were not there. They have biological functions, they have to go to the loo. So why isn't it that particular moment that they are also in the loo? So I do have this pocket of a few minutes to sit without being watched. And I practiced that, and over time it became less and less, I became less and less concerned of the neighbors being there. Because whenever I did think about it, I thought, no, at this moment they're not here. And now I can go to the balcony whenever I want, wherever I want, because I weaned myself out of it. I looked at the fact that I was scared. I didn't run away from it. I realized that, yes, I am afraid that my neighbors are watching me. I didn't rationalize that whether or not this is a reasonable fear. I just said, but I have this fear. What do I do with it? Then I created some solution that worked for me. That was the first one. So now the thing to do if you're facing a fear is that the number one fundamental thing that you need to address is whether or not this thing that you want is worth it. Is it worth it for you? Are you sufficiently motivated? Is this something that you really want? And to understand whether it's something that you really want, a question that I found very good is to ask yourself, what is your intention behind it? This thing that you want, why are you doing it? We go back to the example of the balcony. Why did I want to be at the balcony? What was my intention behind it? So if I found that my intention behind being at the balcony was because I wanted the neighbors to watch me, because I had this wonderful little outfit and I wanted the neighbors to watch me, that intention is not, I want to say, pure enough. That intention is not, pure. Doesn't come from a good enough place to enable the divine within me to come down and assist. I'm saying a lot. So if my intention were, which I guess is what it was, I wanted to feel comfortable in my space. I wanted to, what was my intention? My intention was actually to just feel the sun. There was sunshine, it's a balcony. I wanted to be able to sit down in the sun within my own space without feeling crowded or anything else. So it's a pure intention. I'm doing something with, the good, the bad is not, I don't like going good or bad because sometimes things are not really good or bad. And there's a lot of weight behind why we consider things good or bad. But is the intention within myself pure? Is it aligned? Maybe that's a word to use. Is it for my better good? Is it something that is aligned with my virtues, with my values, with my God? Is it something that makes sense for me? The balcony example maybe now goes a bit out of the way, but it still shows the point that if I am doing it to please other people because I want to, what's the word? I want to, not to please, but I want to be seen. I'm acting. I'm playing a part. I'm playing the part of the person who cleans their balcony even, or whatever it is that I want people to see. That is not pure, and that cannot sustain. It is not strong enough to sustain in and of itself. But if it is a pure purpose, if it is a pure intention, then it provides its own fuel because your higher self, the divine within you, can connect to you, can connect to this purpose. It's easier to attach to your higher self. It's easier to attach to God, the universe, everything that is meant to come together to give you what it is that you want, if your intention is pure. So, worth it. Is it something, and we could be talking about something as tiny as going out to the balcony or something as big as making a move to another country. The question is it worth it for you? Can you, after finding your intention, is it still something that you find important enough to push for? Because if you're pushing against fear, it is a push. You need to find resources within yourself that are going to help you strive for this thing that you want. So, do you want it? Do you want it? That is the reason. That is a really good, important factor to consider. And I'll give you a good one. I'll give you another one as well. I have the intention of learning Swedish, but I live in Sweden, but I haven't been able to ground that want. It is a pure intention. I have a pure intention because it is a learning activity for me. So that does align with my virtues and with my purpose and with my inner self and with God and the universe. So the intention is pure in that I am learning. I will be able to engage in the society in which I live more freely. I'll I'll feel better integrated into the society that I am in. And I'm taking an effort to engage my brain. Doing this mental acrobatics of learning a new language is good. Is good. It keeps you young. It keeps you thinking. So good intention. But what I haven't been able to find is the weight of not motivation, that's the wrong word, purpose. I would like to, but it's not something that I have solidly determined I want to do. And I've been realizing this because I've gone to school, I've done the classes, I have some level of Swedish understanding, but because I haven't been pushing myself, I'm really not there. And really, the language, according to me, is not terribly difficult. It's something that if I decided I wanted to do, I could. But it's just that decision. I haven't found the weight to push me into deciding that that's something I want to do. And that takes us to the next point, which is decide. You need to make a decision and, more importantly, lock your decision. This thing that you fear doing, lock the decision. I haven't locked my decision on learning Swedish, which is why I've been wishy-washy about it. Lock the decision about this thing that is so important to you, that is aligned to you, that is worth the purpose, that you fear, and are still going to go along with it. Lock it. That becomes the cutoff point. The point at which you lock it, you're telling yourself that this thing that I want to do, I shall do. I am aware that there are parts of me that are going to fight me. But even with those parts and even with everything that comes, this is a decision that I have made. This is something that I am going to do. And that creates kind of like a click. It creates a different, it's like you step into a different paradigm shift. You step into a different reality where you are the person who has decided to go after this thing. You are different. You are not the person you were yesterday before you decided. That person wasn't sure, that person didn't know. This outcome wasn't available to that person. But just by making the decision and stepping into that, you have it available to you. Now it just means that you push yourself. It is there. Whatever it is that you want is there. The only reason that you can fathom it is because it is available to you. You don't create ideas in your head or daydream about things that are not yours, are not achievable to you. So the mere fact that you have considered it and now that you have locked it, it is yours. And then the next point here is visualize and feel the success. To visualize this feeling, once you have this thing that you want, put yourself into that future version of you that is there, that already has it, that has achieved this goal, and feel what that feels like. I really like Napoleon Hill. He discusses this point rather well in Think and Grow Rich. This ability to not just think, but actually place yourself into that version of you, to place yourself into that situation where you have achieved what it is you want. I have a video where I talk about manifesting the bus. It sounds silly, but that is frankly and I still do it today. In manifesting the bus, what I do is I visualize and I feel what I am going to feel once I am seated in that bus, once I have caught that bus. And it's almost magical because it's like you have brought the future to the present. And because you're now vibrating at that level where that future exists, it becomes available to you. In my case, it's just the bus. In your case, it's this thing that you want to do. It's this thing that you want to do. It's something, if you sit within the emotions that would be created by having that thing. That's how Napoleon Hill puts it. You actually no, not just think. So thinking is just at the level of your head, but immersing your body, feeling it within the full body, how you would feel by having achieved it. So visualizing the picture, you can print a picture of it, whatever it is that you want. So vision boards, print a picture of whatever it is that you're thinking that you want to see, put it somewhere and look at it. If that's not your cup of tea, put the image in your head of what that would look like, or write it down. Write down that when this happens, this is precisely what I am seeking to achieve, and once I achieve it, this is how I shall feel, and feel the emotion. All right. I have here, maybe I should seek out this other one first. Seek out evidence that you can do this. What have you done in the past that can show you that you can achieve something that you are now striving towards? What linkage have you done? Sometimes we think in really, really big ideas that we want to have invented, I don't know what, we want to have invented, what's it called? Spaceships. We want to have invented spaceships or something so grand. But can you imagine that you learned how to tie a shoelace? You, this individual that is here now, learned how to tie a shoelace. Do you know that the robot arms, this great technology that they create, the robot arms, one of the things that they really struggle with is pressure and texture and things that need you to be, these bendy fingers, these things that need a certain kind of, I won't call it a human touch, but there's a suppleness, that's the word, a suppleness that we bring in with our fingers that these machines have been trying to learn and are probably not quite there yet. So you, at the tender age of heaven knows how old, learned how to tie your shoelaces. This thing that you're afraid of probably is big, undoubtedly. It's maybe something super big to you, but look at evidence over time of what you've achieved. You can speak, you can hear, you can see. So some of these things don't seem so major, but in our younger years, between before we were maybe 6, we managed to do so much that we don't really take into account now. But even beyond that, look at what you do today. Look at your job, your business, how you earn your keep. Look at the roof over your head or whatever it is that you do. Look at, maybe you're a creative, maybe there are things that you've done. Maybe you're a singer and you have the songs that you've sang. So look at your own life and the things that you have done that were new. Because there are things you weren't born doing all the things that you do now. And use that as evidence of the fact that it is within your capability to do new things. You can do new things because you have done them in the past. Look at that evidence and hold on to it to show you that, yes, I can do this. I've done something, maybe not similar, but I've done something new before. And because of that, I can do it. And in fact, look at it also this way, that you have faced fear before. You were afraid. If you know how to ride a bike, you learned by maybe falling down or whatever it is that you learned. And you were afraid. You know how to drive a car, you were afraid. You know how to, whatever it is. I don't know, I'm only thinking of motion. Transport conditions. You went to the dentist, you were afraid. You went to school, you were afraid. You went to a new town, you went to a new friend group. So all these things that you've managed to do while afraid is evidence that you can overcome your fear. It need not control you. Okay, seek out reinforcement along the way. So it's great to have friends or a group of people who can support you on your journey. Just every little step telling you that you've done well. You could actually just have one person who you tell that there's this thing that I'm trying to do and I need encouragement. Don't feel shy. Don't feel shy to ask for help. And it could be the person who always criticizes you. If that is it, tell them, I do not want any criticism. I do not want you to guide me. I do not want your help. The only thing I need from you is for you to tell me that I'm doing well whenever I do make a progress, whenever I do take a step forward. And you'll be surprised. These little bits of encouragement can go such a long way. Such a long way. We might take it for granted that we just expect that someone, we don't really care. It doesn't matter. We are bigger than that. We don't want to be told, we don't care to be told encouraging words. But I tell you, it's something I learned even, it's something I learned even at work. That even the bosses of the bosses' bosses, the bossiest boss, probably Trump, Elon Musk, if you consider them bosses, or whoever it is that is, these kind of bosses who you think cannot be approached, even they appreciate being told when they've done something good. They appreciate, everyone just appreciates appreciation. Everyone likes being told, well done. It gives you a bounce in your step. So seek them out. Maybe if you can't find anyone to be that assistance for you, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Take note of the progress you've made and look back every once in a while. You can set out the period within which you look back and notice the improvements that you've done and pat yourself on the back and say, well done. Very, very, very important. Create the structure. Create the structure. I forget his name. Atomic Habits. The person who wrote Atomic Habits, James Clear. Part of his book speaks of how to form new habits. And he goes into some kind of detail. But one of the things he says is to create the structure, to set yourself up for success. So whatever it is you want to do, like in my case, if I wanted to learn Swedish, part of the things that I would need to do is to set aside time to hit the books and set aside a context within which I can listen to the language and speak it. It could be TV, it could be radio, it could be podcasts, and set it out from a periodic basis. So actually think it through, as in create the structure. It's not going to just happen by chance. I'm not going to be sitting on my couch and then suddenly I speak Swedish. No. And the same thing with you. How, especially time. I think a lot of us have concerns about finding time to do things. Create the structure. Find the time. Wake up early. Stop watching TV. Do it within your lunch break. Create an actual structure and write it down if need be. I think writing it down is very good because then you have a place to go back and look and see, this is the structure that I created to achieve this activity. And again, it could be whatever activity it is that you have in mind, whatever it is that this thing you have determined to do. Take the time, set it out and say that write out the steps on how you're going to achieve it. Yes. Reward small wins. That's my last one. Reward small wins. When you do something and you realize that you've done it, reward yourself. Pat yourself on the back or go get a cookie. Whatever it is that makes you happy. Take the time to engage with yourself and yourselves, the people within you. So the one who was knocking at the door and the ones who are standing firm and the ones who think that society not society, that we should not do things, that we should feel certain ways. Have a little party with all of them and celebrate the wins. Allow yourself to pat yourself on the back. Sometimes we don't do this. We think first it's not adults. Adults should not pat themselves on the back. That is the place for children. But we are all children really deep inside. We have our inner child who also wants to be patted on the back. So that is the way to do it. And I say this in the context of my book. So this is Shiro and Ndune Date Like Cleopatra. The Good Girl Flips the Script. Writing this book was for me such a journey. Every step of the way I was scared. Every step of the way. I would sometimes write it, sit back and look back and think, oh my God, what have I done? Oh my God, can I do this? Then it sat down for a little while before I got the courage to approach someone and ask them to read it. Because I really thought, I had no, what's the word? Confidence in what I was putting together. And then they encouraged me and they told me, you're onto something, this is good, carry on. So that's the alpha reader, even before it had really gotten any kind of traction. So moved along, got someone to actually help me along the way in every chapter. So I got like a crowd of people helping me. In every chapter, there was someone reading it and encouraging me. And then for me, it was, my intention was very pure, because this book is really from deep within. So it is inspired, and it is from deep within, because this is collating a lot of information that I have gathered from many different sources, and also speaking with a voice on a topic, dating. Dating is something that is there are quite a number of books about dating. But I found that my particular experience, I hadn't really found a book that touched on my particular experience. My experience as an African woman under the patriarchy who has been brought up in a certain way. So the good girl perspective of this, but even from the African dimension. So I didn't feel that from the books that I was reading, I was getting enough advice on, not advice, I was input on what I had been doing wrong within the dating sphere. And I, in time, realized that it comes back to myself, and that's what this book is really about. That a lot of it, you have a lot of power, and a lot of it comes back to yourself. So putting that into words and bringing it out to the market was quite the, not the struggle, but the journey for me. But because I was motivation, because my intention was pure, because I decided I was going to do it, then every step of the way, sometimes I had to push myself a little more. Sometimes I noticed that my internal saboteur was taking over and I wasn't moving at all. And in which cases I just picked up again, continued with the structure I had created. I started waking up early every morning, created a time structure specifically for this book, determined ways of going through. I even took a course. So there was so much that I did to be able to get here. And that's the advice that I have for you. There's so much that you can do. Whatever it is that you want to achieve, it's available for you. You just have to believe it and reach out for it. Gorgeous, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I appreciate you as always. Go out there and do that thing. Bye-bye.